Hi, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I am Steve Smith. I want to talk a little bit today about communities. There's been a lot of talk, and well, there always is in the preparedness circles and survival about the importance of communities. And something recently happened that brought this even more to the front of my mind. I get a lot of emails from readers of my books, and first off, to all you who write me, thank you so much. I get a lot out of your emails. They're very gratifying to know that what I attempt to put across in my books is really appreciated and understood by so many people out there, and your input and your feedback to me is invaluable. So I want to thank all of you for that. I just recently, this last week, I got an email from a reader who told me that how much he and his family, and that's the important part, enjoyed the Stonemont series. They said, and I won't mention their names, but the writer told me that as a part of their family activities, they have group readings of books with all of the family around, and it's a mother and father and a couple of teen young men and a younger girl. And in the past, the father told me, they have selected mostly history and military history types of books, but they ran across mine. They started with the Reversion and enjoyed it so much they made it a part of their family reading, and they went through the Reversion and the Revival and the Renewal. And he made several statements in there that were particularly meaningful, but the crux of it was the fact that the story and the building of the community of the Stonemont series and Stonemont, where it takes place, and the values that were expressed, and the societal construct that I discuss seemed to hit a chord with this particular family. And he said how they discuss it at home about Stonemont and about the people, and how even his 6-year-old daughter hears them talk about it and asks questions about it. Well, this is kind of indicative of something that happened after I started writing the series. That after the Reversion came out, I started getting a lot of people tell me that after having read it, they wish they lived at Stonemont. They wish they lived in a world that I was describing after an apocalyptic event, and how I reconstructed it, because they appreciated the principles and the values, which were simply those traditional principles and values that America was based on. And we all know that there are millions of us who think back and wish for those times when life was simpler and ran according to certain rules that were understood by all, and made for a society that was conducive to the belief system that most of us hold. As the other books came out, more and more people would write me and make comments like, I wish I lived at Stonemont, and some other things. I won't go into all of it. It was very nice and very kind, and I appreciated it so much. There seemed to be developing almost a Stonemont community amongst those people who have read the books, the Stonemont series. That got me thinking more about communities and the putting together of communities. And I won't say that I keep track of the thoughts concerning communities so much in the preparedness community itself, but I am aware of the different ideas that people have as far as structured or intentional or organic or what kind of community is the best to have. And so I have a couple of thoughts on that, and I wanted to share those. The community, the type of community that I describe, is the type that I feel is probably best. And now we're talking about, what are we looking toward if we do run into a collapse situation, whether that collapse comes from an EMP, a CME, an economic collapse, a collapse of the government, any number of things. If we had the need and the opportunity to start again, how would we do that? How would we want to do that to ensure not only the ongoing survival of the group, but the stability and the general happiness and welfare of the people within it? My thought, and it doesn't mean that others are wrong, or that I'm saying, or that I think that they're wrong. I'm just going to express my opinion of what I think is best. From what I've looked at throughout history, the countries, the communities, the societies that are developed according to the strictest parameters tend also to be the most fragile, and without the dimensions necessarily that others are. When people, and I do hear people talk about forming their groups, and I hear people say that they want to select certain people to be in their groups, and that they would look for people of different skills and such as that. And I think all of those are valid points, because the more varied skills and abilities you have within a group, the better off the group is going to be. Because if you look at how complex the world is now, if you're going to carry forth any kind of complexity in your, the rebuilding of a society or community, you will need a multitude of skills in there. But I think that selecting people by whether or not they possess certain skills can lead to some problems, because in my opinion, I look at the quality of an individual first. If I have 20 people in my group that all of them are financial advisors, and but they're all quality people, I will take that group over 20 people who have a multitude of skills but are fairly marginal people. And I know I'm going to have some people argue with me on that, but the reason is because skills and abilities, well, abilities tend to be natural, but skills are those things that are developed from abilities, and they can be learned and they can be taught. I can teach people skills. I can teach people how to shoot. I can teach people how to run security. I can teach people how to, do a number of things, and not just me. I mean, there's, within my group of people, I have folks who can teach people probably everything that they would need to know. But what I can't do is take a person and re-raise them to be a good person, and that's why I tend to look at the quality of a person first. And this is what I described in my series, in my Stonemont series, that those of you who have read it, and if you haven't, I hope you do, those of you who have read it see how it started with a simple small group of a family, and how other people came to it, how other people were folded in the community, and how they came, and those people, as they expressed and exhibited the fact that they held on to common principles and values, how that came together to develop a strong community, and from that, the stability that's needed to go on. So as people have talked to me about the fact that they wish, after having read my books, that they lived in Stonemont, I can well understand that, and all they're saying is that they want to be around people who feel the way they do. And that's really what it comes down to. When you're looking at community, you're looking for people who feel and believe the way you do. And I think that's the most important thing. To select people because they have certain skills and things first, I think is the wrong way to go about it. I don't choose my friends like that, and you probably don't either. You don't. If I saw somebody and said, well, I think he's a surgeon, so I think I'll go make friends with him. Well, I think that's the wrong reason to make a friendship. That seems a little mercenary to me, and I'm sure here again people are going to go, well, you just have to do it, and that's the way you need to build a group and a community. Well, not as far as I'm concerned. So one of the interesting things was that I had one of my readers sent me a picture from Colorado. He went up, and I'm going to have my guru stick the picture in here in just a second, but he went to Colorado on his family vacation, and he emailed me a picture of I think it's the latest book. I think it's the Renewal, up there in let me think where it was. He said it was up in Colorado, Roosevelt National Park or Forest or something like that, I think. And anyway, he took a picture of the book there in front of the mountains and sent it back. And this is the kind of thing that I get, quite often, and it shows me how much a part of, and I don't mean, to say that, my books are becoming such a part of people's lives, but what I mean is that the story and the things involved in it, here again, the values and principles involved in the story, are so important to people and so important to the bedrock, the foundational elements of their life, that they tend to internalize it and take it with them. So they sent me that picture of the Renewal, I think it was, in front of the mountains, and that is so neat. And I thank him so much. Your name was Paul. Thank you, Paul, for doing that. And I'll have the guru stick that picture in right here. So now that we're back, and he just told me how many minutes we've been into this, and I'm going to wrap this up. The second and the last thing that I'm going to say, and this just takes another minute, is I've been telling people, well, I'm not going to share the name of the next book for a while, and then somebody said, well, they already put it in the back of the Renewal, so why aren't you telling people? And I checked, and that's true. So to let you know, the end of the Stonemont series was 3 books, the Reversion, the Revival, and the Renewal, and that's the end of the Stonemont series. But people said, well, what are you going to do after that? Well, it kind of goes into a broader area now. It's going to be a continuation of the same story, but it's now called the New America series, and it's probably also going to be a trilogy, and that's simply because the people that we started off with in Stonemont are finding out what's going on across the country, different groups, different communities, some good and some bad, and some of them bent on gaining or maintaining or regaining control over other groups, and it's what I think will probably happen after a collapse, the fragmentation of this country, and so as our groups go out and come into contact with different groups around the country, that's what we're seeing in this next series. So the next, I'll go ahead and make the announcement now. And then the next book is called The Blessings of Freedom, and it's the first book in the New America series. And we're shooting to have it out by Christmas. This tends to be a busy time of year for me with some other things, but it's going pretty well. And so we'll see if we can't get it out by Christmas. Keep our fingers crossed on that. So anyway, I'm going to have him put in, I think we have the cover design made of The Blessings of Freedom, and I'll have my guru stick that in here. And now you're back. So that's all I wanted to say. Think about communities, the importance of communities, but how you really would want to build them, and how you want to look at the quality of people not just the skills that they might have, because you can teach skills. You can't teach quality of personality, and hope you're looking forward to the new series, The Blessings of Freedom, and I have to say that I'm enjoying writing this book quite a bit. It's interesting what happens when you're writing books. Sometimes they take turns that you don't see, and sometimes you get into some areas that make you think and question some of your preconceived notions. And it's from that I think that we sometimes make discoveries of kind of how we think about things and how we think things might go on. So anyway, I'll let you go with that, and I hope you all have a good day, and remind you that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. Thanks a lot. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.